Next is Hayden Saunier, and Hayden also read for us in the last year. This is a theme. So we had a reading up at KGB Bar for this issue, and Hayden read there. She lives in Pennsylvania, so it's equal drive both ways. We didn't do one in Philly. Hayden Saunier won the 2011 Pablo Neruda Prize for Poetry from Nimrod International Journal. Her first collection of poetry, Tips for Domestic Travel, was published in 2009 by Black Lawrence Press. She lives in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and is here to read for you tonight.
Hi, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Ooh, is that good? Thank you, Smartish Pace. I'm happy to be able to read twice. I actually grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia, and now I live in between New York and Philadelphia, so I spent a lot of time on 95 in that corridor. So I thought I'm going to read 3 poems, and I'm going to start with this one. I don't know if anybody else sees these signs in those condos off the highway that say, if you lived here, you would be home by now. So that's what I took this from. It's called If You Lived Here. You would be home by now, and you'd have stripped away your shoes, socks, pants, or skirt, and if a skirt, for damn sure you'd have peeled away your sheer control top pantyhose and chucked them balled up like 2 snake skins and a skull cap in the corner. And if you were home and barefoot, your toes and arches seeking into natural carpet fibers or cooling on a micro-sanded bamboo kitchen floor, by now you would have taken off the rest. The shirt, tie, boxers, bangle bracelets, push-up bra. If you lived here, you would be naked, standing in this high-rise condo island built beside 8 highway lanes with easy on and off, between the place you go to and the place to which you must return, where something bluesy plays big horns behind a rootsy gut guitar as you gaze at the view. A forest sliver just outside the exit ramp's embrace, where someone much like you once knew a ragged line of red-tipped cedars, knew the pale bark of that sycamore to be sure signs that pointed home. This is called The One and the Other. The child hums as he carries, too late, his grandmother's sugar-dusted, lemon-glazed cake to the neighbor who needs to be cheered. Too late for the neighbor who stepped into the air of her silent front hall from a ladder-backed chair, her church dress just pressed, her head in a loop she tied into the clothesline. Too late, he unlatches the gate, walks the brick walk on his tiptoes, avoiding the cracks. Toward the door she unlocked, left ajar, who knows why or for whom, if on purpose or not, but because he's too late, she's gone still when he reaches the door, and because he's too late, as he calls out and looks, brilliant sun burns through haze, pours through sidelights and bevels, through chandelier prisms, strikes white sparks and purples on ceilings and walls, on the overturned chair, on her stockings, her brown and white spectator shoes on the floor. And because he's too late, he remembers both beauty and terror, but not which came first. But enough of the one that he ran, and enough of the other to carefully lay down the cake at her feet. And last poem is a little more upbeat than that. It's called The Last of It. I have the benefit of living out in the country with dogs and animals and terriers in particular.
Okay.
the last of it. Terriers are named for earth, and this one was always head down in a groundhog hole, dirt flying past her back end like struck oil, until she'd flush a groundhog, run it, shake it cold, then leave it for the turkey vulture cleanup crew who travel in a crowd, death being food and fellowship, and who am I to judge the way they take turns at a corpse, lined up on a fence like it's the front porch of a country store. So the buzzards had done their bit, the maggots theirs, the beetles and bacteria, but terriers are named for earth. So she went back to drag the last of it, a matted rug of spine and skull still sewn with sinew, blackened footpads holding curved, sharp claws, up to the house where I came upon it, yelled, "God damn it," threw it on the car roof so I could fling it roadside on a hard turn the next time I went out. Then, frankly, there's a big blank in the day. Yes, I was there, but I have no memory of it. Phone calls, bills, I cleaned stuff up. Life took off in some direction and I trotted after it. So it was later, when I drove my neighbor into town and braked hard coming down the quarry hill, that the carcass made its sudden reappearance, sliding down the windshield, all bone socket teeth and fur, claws screeching on the sloped glass, making resurrection and reanimation both seem possible. And yes, we screamed so hard I drove into the ditch, and even though I threw the carcass down the gully, dropped my friend off, washed the car, I know as well as any terrier that eternal recurrence lives on through the earth, through the tales that we tell, and I'm very sure I have not seen or heard the last of it.